Hi folks, welcome to my Bit Retro Journal. Today I'm once again noodling around with my Amiga, and I've been playing around with a really cool application which is QL emulator for the Amiga, and it's actually a really good emulator. So I'm going to show you, I actually have created a disk which is already in there, and this is actually a QL formatted disk. I created it on my QL. I can read it also on the Q emulator on my Windows machine. So this has some software on there, and the nice thing about the QL, I think it's called the QL for Amiga emulator. It can read QL disks, so that's really cool. So that's what I want to show you today. So let me change the camera so that we can get a better picture, and we'll get right into it. So the QL boot directory is basically how you get it in the LHA file. So it's literally just you unpack it, or I actually zipped it up and then brought it over here and unzipped it. But it's just all in one directory. And the only thing you have to do is there's a C directory where you have to copy all these things into Workbench, a C directory. I made copies, so I have the original ones here. But yeah, you basically move them into the C directory, and that's the only thing. With one exception, to run it, then you also have to start the shell up and just assign QL boot to the directory where it's in, which happens to be in the hard disk. Expansion, emulators. Again, I like to have a hierarchy, QL boot. And so, I'm still getting used to this keyboard. Yeah. And CLI. And so, other than that, you can then, you just double click on this. There's other things that come with it. I haven't looked at all these yet. I'm not sure what's in the PC directory. I'm not sure why there's an autoexec.bat. Yeah, that's weird. I'll have to read more about that. And then it has a bunch of, I assume these are some ROMs you can get with it. Not really sure. These are definitely code files that you can load in, but I actually don't see the, maybe this is it. ROMs for the A1200 and the, yeah. Not sure. The naming doesn't seem right. Like I would expect to see JS or JSU, which I don't see here. So not quite sure where those are. You've got, yeah, I'm not sure what that is either. I know these programs are a way to zip and unzip stuff onto QL floppy disks. Again, I actually didn't use any of this stuff because I actually have a real QL, plus on the QL emulator on the PC, you can actually format floppies, and this will read the QL floppies. The emulator will. So other than having to done the assign, you can just start it up. The one thing that's odd, and it shows you all the sort of drivers it has added that are specific to Amiga OS. I always like to run it in TV mode, but so here's one difference. You'll see that generally if I write a program and list it, it should be on a blue screen, but it's all red, and then on a clear screen it should be red. So the color for mode 8 doesn't really work. If I go mode 4, which is the high-res 4-color mode, now you have what you expect. You have red, and if you list the program, it's in black. So yeah, that's so if you go, yeah, so that should be black, but in low res, and let me make sure that the screen actually, let me do mode 8 again, and let me just make sure that this is really viewable. Yep, it's viewable. I'm going to have to change the contrast when I start doing different things. So I'm going to keep it in this mode for now. So I do have, if I put the floppy in, FOP1, it's able to read it, and I've got a bunch of programs on there. One of the first ones I want to run is FOP1ZX, which is my ZX simulator. And I think this is going to be kind of white on black, so I think that's not going to do too well. So I'm going to have to readjust the contrast on the screen, and I'm going to load in my banner program, FOP1. The other thing I've noticed on this is that it actually runs really fast, maybe slightly faster than the real QL, which would be really, so let's just list it. And from here we can kind of see what, okay, so you can see it. And if I run it, yeah, this is definitely running about as fast, if not slightly faster than the real QL. So I mean, this is a QL is a 7.5 megahertz. This is a 7.1 megahertz. Just has a better 16-bit data bus versus 8. So maybe they're using the chipset for this, but it's a really impressive emulator. I'm really impressed with it so far. So yeah, very, very happy to see this run as fast as it does. Let me show you a couple more demos on this, and I'm just going to go through some software that's able to run on this. But yeah, this is pretty nice, and I'll do a timing comparison because I usually go through two of these things to figure out how fast it runs. But if I then the other one, which is a test program, FOP1 ball bass. And reading from floppy is usually faster than micro drives when you see me run it on the QL. And I run this. Speed is fast. Yeah, and so I feel like that's really running much faster as well. So, and I can slow it down. And all it does is it makes it twirl 3 times instead of once. And if I go faster, now it twirls twice, now only once. So it goes much faster. But yeah, so that... it's a little bouncing ball demo. The more interesting one that I think really shows its speed is my Elite ZX81 program that I wrote as a demo also. It's reading it from disk, and here it is. Run it, and that is really fast. And if I go start it up, like you can tell from the fire, boom, that's fast. And so, and then I want to pull up on the stick. Nope. Pull down on the stick. Pull down on the stick. The controls are a little janky. They work. And here he goes. And bring him into other direction. There he goes. Get him in sight. So he does bounce around a little bit. Fire, fire, fire. There he goes, destroyed him. So yeah, very playable game. And I mean, it's running definitely much faster than the real QL. So I don't know what they're doing with this emulator on a machine that has a slightly slower speed on the CPU, but obviously better chipset for graphics. Maybe that's what's speeding things up. But it's a really nice emulator. So far, I'm really impressed. I'm going to break out of this. And the only other one I have in here is Battleship, which is kind of a I'll show some other games as well, but this is going to take a little bit longer to load in because it's 16K files. So and not the disk reads, but the way the ZX Simulator currently is dealing with larger files. It's not efficient. I need to fix that. I mean, it's supposed to emulate a ZX81, which well, normally they can take 16K of memory, and on the QL, the way it's designed, there it goes. And if I run it, I designed on the QL to run for 16K. I can change keys, key for left, key for right, key for down, key for up, vertical, horizontal, set, normal, move. So yeah, this is just the old Battleship game. And that's one I wrote as a kid. But yeah, so now you can actually set the old battleships up, placement of ships, vertical, horizontal, and then you can, there's a pause in here, that's why it's slowing it down. Oh, I want it, and then it sets it, and the next one I want also in that direction, set it there, and this one I want to go this direction, and I'm going to go, and then we'll go, yeah, and so then it's going to go into play mode, no, and it'll pick one, and then I pick one. So it's a traditional Battleship, and this one I have it in cursor mode, so you can just pick and find it, etc. And it's going to try to find yours, and you're going to try to find it. Now the one thing is, sorry, I hit one. The screen is kind of squashed, which looks a little janky. So I don't know if there's a way to adjust it or not. So that's my only complaint about it so far. In any case, I'm going to get out of this. And so that's all ZX Simulator. That's my emulator, but there's more. Again, go mode 8 here. It's easy to see. So we've got chess game. So exec W FLP1 chess. So this is the Psy chess program. Obviously the Amiga has better chess programs, but this will do 3D chess. And yeah, now this does show the right colors for that, and you can go in 3D mode, and then if you want to do a demo, kind of, and you can, it does do the sound properly, you can kind of hear it. Let me see if I can get the speaker closer in. Kind of hear it. Yeah, you can hear it there. So it's doing the sound, and this is actually much, the screen, yeah, so this is a good screen. This is kind of looks like it would on the QL, maybe a little wider, I guess, but yeah, it's pretty good. And it's the right colors, so the high res works. I mean, the 4-color high res works, and then you can go back into this mode, and then I think you can say stop, and you're out of here. Okay, mode 8, FLP1. So far, again, a really good emulator. I tried to run a couple of games, Assault and Spook. They're Damon Chaplin, really cool games. I've shown them before on my channel. But I think they require 128K, and this is giving you way more memory than that. So that's what Assault, Boot and Assault is, and then Spook Boot. And Spook is sort of the Pac-Man variant. So those wouldn't work on here, unfortunately. The Kugel demo is kind of cool. Let's see if this will run on this. Load for P1. I'm trying to avoid having to reboot, but I might have to at one point. and I'll just have to reboot the whole machine. If I run this, yeah, well, it's running pretty fast. Yeah, this is I don't know, it must be maybe the graphics on this because of the chipset and the Amiga, because the processor, I mean, it has to emulate it, so the fact that it's running faster, I mean, it's just really impressed. This is really showing the power of the hardware on the Amiga for it to run a QL which has a similar processor clock speed, although again, 8-bit versus 16-bit data bus. Could that really be it? But now you get to see the cool animation, so that's pretty cool. Usually it runs a little slower and smoother on the QL, but that definitely gives you a little bit of an animation demo. Kind of fun. And then again, mode 8, FLP1. Oops. And I hope that's viewable. It is a little dim. I feel like in mode 4, it's definitely brighter. Even if I go, well, I don't have the, yeah. But if I go mode 8, I feel like the white on this, that color is not quite as bright. I'm trying to look how it appears on the screen here. It's readable, so I'm not going to muck with it. But definitely on the actual QL, the letters would be brighter, and the red would be redder. So there's something wrong with the color scheme here that's going on. I'm not quite sure what it is. So another cool one is the Amiga one. So we can just go lrun FLP1 boot Amiga. Yeah. And if we do 4000, it basically does the, so you can run this demo in the QL as well. It does the Amiga bouncing ball, and I don't hear, it's not doing the audio for it. So this was done in '86, just to be cute. It was for a QL users club, just to kind of fight back on the Amiga, saying, hey, we can do this too. And it's actually much smoother when you run it on the actual QL. So the emulator does get a little jerky on that, but yeah, so there's your actual demo. So I'm running the ball demo on an emulator on the Amiga. Isn't that kind of fun? Yeah, white now. Light blue cursor, pink cursor. So this is all kind of strange at the moment. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to, I mean, you can play around with paper, no, oops, number 1, 0, paper number 2, oops, number 2, 0. Yep. So that kind of gets you sort of back into the, I think there's a close number 3. Yeah, so they had a window open. So if you, dir FLP, so I don't know what this is going to do now. Oh, okay, so yeah. So I think the last one I'm going to run just to demo is, my favorite's always the baton, and we're going to run that in again, the Amiga obviously multitask, but so does the QL, FLP1, EX, sorry, baton, EXE. The image is not very good, though, I will say. We're going to say 45, and maybe we'll do it in mode 8. We'll get more, oops, space Let's give us more colors at least. Muted colors though, because it's not quite doing the colors right. Exec FOP 1 baton exe. But the picture for, it's weird, the picture for the 8-color mode, the text is crystal clear, but the color is off. So I'm not sure. 45 will have competing ones going at it. And if I go, so again, if I go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, very clear text. If I go mode 4, it's very, yeah, so there's something about the screen mode that's going on here, because even you can see the cursor has sort of a, it's sort of split, the red has sort of a red shadow to the left of it, so it's not even aligned. So maybe some colors, because again with mode 8, sorry, you have a little bit of that right at the edge here. I'm going to do mode 8 again. You can see a little bit of the red bleeding off, sort of leaving a shadow. But in the mode 4, it's like that. It's like really extreme. In any case, that is the QL emulator, QL for Amiga, running on my Amiga 600, and actually running faster than the QL. So I'm a little embarrassed that. Would love to know why. So if I have some of my Amiga friends, because 7.5 megahertz 68008, 7.16 megahertz 68000, 8-bit data bus, 16-bit data bus, is that truly, I mean, but it's emulating it. So is the emulator utilizing the 68000 instruction set? Maybe that's why. Maybe it's actually not emulating the instruction set, but just sending somehow throughputting it to the process. I don't know how that would be done. It would be really cool emulator if it did that. You know, generally when you emulate a different CPU as well. Here they're not, so maybe that's why they're getting some efficiency out of it. I don't know. But I would have imagined there would have been an emulation layer where it's actually emulating the 68008 processor, even if it's running on a 68000. So I'd have to dig a little deeper into that, but it's definitely impressive. Color-wise, it's not quite working. There's right now, it seems like I need to figure out how to run this in 128K mode, because then I could probably run some games on it. But for now, just wanted to poke around, noodle around with the emulator running on my actual hardware. Cool emulator, and you know, best of both worlds. Can't get out of it, unfortunately. You have to reboot. But I'm going to end here. Thanks for sort of, you know, doodling around with me on this journey of discovering more about my Amiga. And I'll see you next time.